So, it's an incredible honor to have these great guests with us today. So, I'm going to introduce them in order of how I want them to sit because I think that's going to be easier to do. So, first of all, I'd like to welcome to the stage Graham Duff. Graham, come and join us. Graham, you will have seen in Doctor Who and Harry Potter, and we're going to talk about it, but he's a man of many talents, and it's going to be interesting to sort of delve into that. Then, I want to introduce, and I hope I get this right, the incredible Vic Mignogna. Now, he is the voice of so many different characters that you know and love, but he is also his own voice today, and I'm very much, looking forward to delving into that. And then, as incredible as these men are, one of my childhood heroes, an incredible man who I've had the pleasure of meeting way ago, but the amazing, the incredible Lou Ferrigno. Guys, give it up. Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I can't hear you. Come on. One more time. I want to hear what Malta really sounds like. How are you?
I'm very good.
Wonderful.
You can hear me all right here?
Yeah.
Good.
You
Okay.
want me to sit on your lap?
I mean, yeah, I do, but we'll
won't
do
bite
that
you.
later.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you guys a few questions and then open up to have a few from the audience as well. But the first thing I wanted to ask, and I think I'm sure all of you will have a bit of a story for this, but I know you, Lou, probably have quite a bit to say. How did your upbringing and early years really influence where you are today and your career path, the path that your life took? What was it about your, I guess, childhood and those early stages that brought you here?
Well, you see, when I was very young, I lost like 80% of my hearing. So I had a severe speech impediment and a hearing loss. So I was boldly rejected a lot. So I had to read a lot of different comic books to escape the pain. I was very attracted to the Hulk, Superman, because they had to do with power. So during that period, I discovered bodybuilding, working out with weights. That became my passion. And then from that point on, the more I kept training, I became a world champion bodybuilder. Then eventually I went in the movie business. But all the naysayers kept saying to me, you can. To me, I was a fighter. I wanted to succeed. But I had no idea if my life there would be a Comic-Con here in Malta. This is unbelievable. I'm so happy all the fans came today. I'm very impressed because it brings back a lot of memories, especially when I started. People laughed at me when I used to read comic books. They said, you're reading comic books? They laughed at me, but with my passion, and look where it is today.
I know, it's incredible to think that it used to be a thing of nerds and people would make fun, and now we are the cool kids as we always were. Exactly. What about for you, Graham, in terms of, how your kind of upbringing and experience influenced getting you to this point?
Well, I couldn't read until I was 9. I don't know why. It didn't click for me. I'm a little bit dyslexic, but I couldn't read. So TV and film and comics, because with comics when you're young, you don't necessarily have to read the text. So that was a big inspiration, and it just filled me. It powered my imagination, and I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to, like a lot of kids, I wanted to be a monster in the playground. I wanted to be you, actually, when I was very young. Never made it. But yeah, and I started writing, and I think my writing was probably terrible to begin with, but I loved doing it, and I wanted to create stuff that gave me the same sensation I got from other stuff. And I kept getting rejected, and I just kept doing it, and I just thought, I don't care. I love doing it, so I'll keep doing it until something gets accepted, and it eventually did.
I mean, I love it. In both of your stories, it's about overcoming, certain things, and then really sort of becoming the opposite. And so you, in a sense, being bullied, and not becoming a bully, but instead becoming, this strong figure that could inspire people. In your case, you're like slower to read and you become a writer.
Yeah.
So Vic, I mean, no pressure, but please tell us about, and again, it may not be a similar story, but how did your background influence where you've gone?
Well, first of all, now that I have a microphone, hello, Malta Comic-Con! You look beautiful. Molto bello. It's such a pleasure to join you. In answer to your question, when I was a little boy, there was one TV show that meant everything in the world to me. Who wants to guess what it was? Star Trek. I loved Star Trek, and I was the biggest Star Trek nerd I ever knew. And back then, like we talked about, Comic-Cons and all this, people kind of teased you if you liked comic books or science fiction or things like that. So I would secretly go to school, but I would have my Star Trek shirt on underneath, and I would only show it to people if I knew they were okay. But Star Trek got me involved in acting, in filmmaking, in writing and producing, all those different things. And at the same time, I was in love with TV shows like Speed Racer.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was anime. I just knew it was different than the average cartoon. And fast forward several years, and I got the opportunity to start doing some voice work. My first character was Vega in Street Fighter II.
Wow, okay, yeah.
And since then, I've done 400 different animated series and video games. And then I also got to fulfill my childhood dream of making a live-action Star Trek series where I got to play my childhood hero, Captain Kirk. So it kind of all came full circle for me, you know?
Yeah. And I want to ask you about that in a minute. But first of all, I want to come back to Lou. I want to come back to Lou. And so one of the interesting things with you playing the Incredible Hulk is he was such a scary character in some ways. But I think for so many young boys and young men, there was something about him that we could relate to, because there was inside us this turmoil, this turbulence, this anger, and these things that we wanted to express. And so we could feel, David Banner's conflict. But then when you came out, on the one hand, it's scary, but I feel like it meant a lot to us. How do you feel about that? And what do you think he represents?
The Hulk was actually a creature, and I showed the sensitivity. It was called pantomime. That means acting without speaking. I was able to show the emotions, the sensitivity. That's what attracted young people, kids, and everything. That's the difference between a creature and a monster. That's what made the Hulk such a beloved character. That's how people related to him.
Actually, that's true. That distinction between creature and monster is so, it's nuanced, but it's very much right. Do you think as well it was about, because you had such a good relationship with Bill Bixby and the nice interplay, because he in some ways seemed gentle but conflicted, and so he set the scene for that relatability, but then you could see that you were the two sides of the same coin.
It was the beautiful Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde character, and every episode delivered a laser compelling message about life. And people relate that. Even today, 50 years later, when you watch it, you learn something from the show, because you see what David Banner goes through. You want to take him in your home, and you want to shelter him and give him food, because he's always on the road and dealing with this big demon, this Incredible Hulk, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Because all of us had that little Hulk inside of us. There's things we want to do in life, like break things, get angry, smash walls. But the Hulk releases that demon we have inside. That's why every culture loves the Hulk, because the character being green, everybody has that connection, all of us.
That's right. And can you speak a little bit about your sort of friendship and working with Bill Bixby? Because I think, was he a bit of a mentor for you in some ways? Was he someone that helped you with?
Well, I was a big fan of Bill, because when Bill did the Hulk, I think it was his 4th series. So, I mean, when I first began the Hulk, I didn't know anything about acting, about cameras, about direction, about reading script. So he took me under his wing. When you work with a co-star on a TV series, you spend more time with them than your wife being home. you're talking about maybe 50, 70 hours a week, especially with the editing, the voice, everything. So Bill, it was almost like a father-son relationship. Wow. Unfortunately, he passed away at the age of 59. Yeah. But I miss him dearly because I've learned so much from him. He was such a professional, and he taught me how to about the professional way of acting.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. And one thing I'll mention, just because people might not know why we're being a bit nerdy about this, you might be used to the Hulk being called Bruce Banner, but for the TV show, he was called David Banner. Am I correct in saying there was sort of a rumor that they thought Bruce was a wussy name?
Well, CBS thought that Bruce sounded gay. I'm serious. They changed the name to Bruce. And they said nothing had to be shown below the navel. Whenever the shirt ripping, the pants come off, nothing below the navel, and do not use the name Bruce because it sounded gay. That was CBS at the time, back in 1977.
Wow. So there you go. So yeah, that's why he was called David back then.
That's why he's back to Bruce Banner now in the movie.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So it's okay to be gay now, but also it's okay to be called Bruce. So if there's any Bruces here, you can feel very proud. In the same way as all of us have overcome things, the Bruces of the world are winning now.
By the way, everyone here hear what we're talking about? Every single person, raise your hand. Everybody listening? Okay, want to make sure, because if there's any communication problem, just let us know. We'll repeat the answer.
Now, if we can pass the mic down to Vic, I wanted to ask something.
Yes, ask me anything.
We will open up to some audience questions, and I bet
yes,
they will
please.
want to ask about your animation stuff. But I want to touch on the Star Trek work, which I know you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
And I think what's interesting about that is you portray Captain Kirk in Star Trek Continues. Yes. And obviously, part of that is getting down the voice, because William Shatner has a very particular cadence and way. But this is one of those roles where you're not just the voice behind, you're then actually adapting some of the body language and really bringing, this character to life in every way. So how was that experience for you when a lot of the time you were doing the voiceover work? You were bringing to life someone in every way, and it was someone who you deeply admired.
Well, because I loved Captain Kirk so much, I wanted to pay tribute to him. I didn't want to make fun of him. I love Bill Shatner. We've had the chance to do many events together, and I would never want him to think that I was doing some kind of a parody of him. And so we were very careful when we shot our series to pay tribute without making it a stereotype. So you see a lot of parodies of Captain Kirk, right? You see a lot of Spock. I don't know, Spock. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want anyone to feel like we were making fun. So we were very careful to pay respectful tribute to the characters, whether it was Leonard Nimoy playing Mr. Spock. One of my voice actor friends, Todd Haberkorn, plays Mr. Spock. And I told him, Todd, I don't want you to make a new Mr. Spock. I want people to feel like they're watching the original. You're just continuing what he already created. And many of you, have you ever watched Mythbusters? Any Mythbusters fans? Awesome. Grant Imahara from Mythbusters played Sulu in our series. Same thing. There is a stereotype, but we didn't want to play into the stereotype. Yep. We wanted people to take the show seriously and feel like they're watching a continuation of the original characters. And I should mention, while we're talking about Star Trek, that in our second episode, we had an amazing guest star, and his name was Lou Ferrigno. Hey. So check out Star Trek Continues. Here's the best part, everybody. It's free. So you won't feel gypped if you don't like it. StarTrekContinues.com. We made 11 full-length episodes. Picks up right where the original Star Trek series was canceled and finishes the 5-year mission of the Enterprise. We have over 20 million viewers. So check it out, please.
Yeah.
We rebuilt the entire set from the original Star Trek series. You'll love it. It's like stepping back in time and watching the series.
Wow. I would love to walk onto that set, I tell you.
It's like stepping into a dream.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, that's incredible. Now, obviously, you were saying you don't want to go into parody with it, but one thing I was wondering, because you also do music and you sing, have you ever done any of the songs in the style of William Shatner? Because again, his singing, when you hear Rocket Man or Common People,
It's kind of
incredible.
a spoken word thing, isn't it?
A little
It's
bit.
really not singing. And that's not an insult. It's a spoken word, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's going to be a long, long time before touchdown brings me round, I get to fly. I mean, that's cool, and I love it. So perfect. But I just sing. I don't really...
Right.
Like we were coming up here, I'm like, I can't fight this feeling deep inside of me. I was singing along with the music. I love it.
Brilliant. And I want to hear a little bit more about the singing soon, but I want to ask Graham about some things as well. So it's interesting. You've kind of had an experience between what these two guys have had, because you've been in the Harry Potter films where you played Death Eater.
Yeah.
And you've been in Doctor Who. And so essentially you're kind of in makeup and in prosthetics and different things, but you'll also have, spoken parts. So you're kind of having to act through this stuff that is covering you, which I think both of these guys can relate to in some way, using your voice and getting past the makeup or whatever. How did you do that, and what is your experience of that?
It is, there's a different layer of acting you have to do, I think. And it's, I think people sort of think, oh, the makeup and the costume, that's the part, and it isn't really. You've got to get something out of yourself, and it took me a while to do that. I have to be honest. I think, as I said earlier, like a lot of kids, I went around pretending to be a monster in the playground, or we all love doing that, don't we? That sort of those big parts, because like people always say, those are the fun parts. The heroes are great. But really, the monsters, the creatures, the aliens, that's where the fun is. So yeah, I think you do have to remember that this creature, this being, has a soul. It has a spirit, and it's not just a scary voice or a roar. There's something deeper within you, and I think you can tell when actors have got that and when they haven't. And it's not to do with whether or not you're an extra or whether or not you're a starring role. I think it's to do with what you draw out from yourself. And I'm, I'm 6'2". I mean, I'm not as stacked as you are, obviously, but I'm a big man, and so casting directors look at me and they think, right, I never get nice parts. I'm Nazis, I'm assassins, I'm pirates, I'm killers, I'm murderers. When I write my own scripts, I write nice characters for myself, because I won't get them otherwise. I know that. I will not get them otherwise.
Well, I think you touched on something, interesting there in terms of even, where you're playing this creature or this monster, whatever the distinction is, just in the sounds you make or the words you speak, you need to convey that sense that there is more depth to the character and this thing inside. If you could hand back to Lou for a minute, I know that in the years since playing the Hulk, you've actually done some voiceover work where you've been playing the Hulk, again. So I'm curious about that, because again, you're trying to convey all of the aspects of the Hulk and that tortured nature and the fact that this is someone under this creature. How do you go about that? And also, how do you tap back into something where there's been a big gap between when you were doing it and now you're coming back to do it again?
Well, I did the voice for the animated Hulk cartoon. Whenever you do a voiceover, everything direct to the microphone. To interact with other actors, you really can't, because you have to focus, because I would love to interact with other actors, but voice is direct to the microphone. So for me, the big gap, I was invited to do it. But the thing is, I've been the Hulk my whole life. I know how he thinks and feels. But the voice is very interesting, because years ago, when you do a voiceover, you had to try to sync your voice around the character. But today they built the character around your voice. That's why I can't imagine this guy's done over 400. I mean, I remember one time I wanted to do an animated TV series called Adventure Time.
Right.
I'm sitting here. You got Mark Hamill sitting here. You had Kathy Ireland sitting here. Many different actors. But beautiful, you're in the room with these different actors, but you can't really do a scene with them. It's all in the microphone. You got to be very creative. It's very, very hard to do. It's not easy. A lot of people think it's easy, but voiceover is very difficult, especially portraying that the feeling of the. As long as you're interested in the character, that's the most important thing about it. If you're not interested in the character, then you're not going to sound believable.
Yeah. I wasn't even aware of the Adventure Time stuff. I'd missed that.
Billy.
And so obviously you and all of you, and I want to talk about this, but you know, you're multifaceted. People go, oh, it's the Hulk, but it's actually like, no, you've done all these different things. So can you tell us about some of your other sort of pursuits and talents? Maybe some of the things that people aren't as, you know, familiar with you. Tell us about some of the other things you do.
Well, right now, for 20 years, I've been a deputy sheriff. I went through the academy to be a certified deputy sheriff. I do a lot of worldwide public speaking, talking about overcoming fear. I still work out, keep in shape. I like to do a lot of different things, but the thing is I enjoy more than anything doing Comic-Con because I love the fan. I love the different cultures, the different food, traveling, because especially I'm very blessed that I could travel, like all of us. We go to different countries. They fly you there. You see different Comic-Con, you hear what the fans have to say. Yeah. I mean, this is unbelievable. We're in Malta. This is a fan of ours. I mean, who would think the other side of the world? I mean, you're sitting here and you have this same appreciation. It's that beautiful appreciation, enjoying life. That's the best you can do.
Absolutely. And yeah, I love hearing that about you doing the sheriff work, because that is then actually a real life thing. You're not playing a part. That's just Lou Ferrigno, you know, good citizen, but then going out and doing something beyond, which I love. So Graham, if we can pass to you. So I mentioned before about you being a writer, and you've sort of touched on it. So and that is probably a bigger part of your life, your screenwriting. So tell us about that and some of the other sort of pursuits that you have.
Well, I've written several of my own series for BBC and Sky. So I did a series called The Nightmare Worlds of H.G. Wells, where I adapted some of H.G. Wells' short stories. We had an amazing cast for that. People like Michael Gambon, it was one of the last performances he did. I did a show called Ideal, which is probably the best thing I'm known for, which is about a cannabis dealer. And it ran for 53 episodes. It's quite surreal, but there's a lot of social satire in that. At the moment, I'm developing a series with Christopher Eccleston, who was Doctor Who. And it's partly about Comic-Cons and things like that. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's partly about the sort of interaction of fans and writers, producers, and so on. So that's quite exciting, because I was a massive Doctor Who fan. So when I actually got to be in Doctor Who, that was a big deal for me. I also write books. I write about music as well. And I do, it's an area of the business that doesn't get talked about a great deal, but I do script doctoring. So feature films and so on that they show to test audiences, and maybe they're not quite what they want. And so even though the film has been shot, they get me to write additional material for it. So I'll be writing extra lines, extra gags. Sometimes they'll refilm them, but sometimes you are literally writing to the edit. So a scene where the figures are in the distance, so you can't see their mouths moving, so you can write extra lines of that. You're on the outside of a building, they're in a car, you're on the back of somebody's head. And I can, you know, I did some work on the Meg 2, and I wrote 68 pages of new material for it when it had already been filmed. And this happens a lot. People don't really know about this, but it's a big part of the industry, particularly with the bigger films.
Yes.
So, you know, they sort of think, well, the test audience weren't keen, so how can we make it better? So that's an interesting thing to do, because it's a real challenge when something already exists, has already been edited, and then you think, right, what can we sneak in here? and also that people won't realize that that's how it's been done. So yeah, that's an interesting thing to do.
Yeah. And for you, Vic, I mean, like these two gentlemen, you're quite the Renaissance man as well, with, you know, doing many different things and many talents. I love, you know, sort of reading about the singing and the performing that you do. The great tidbit for me was finding out that you did some work on the first DC Talk album, which is, that's a nice deep cut that, you know, for those that appreciate it.
I have not heard anyone mention that in a very long time. Thank you. Thank you.
I
That's
love
back to my college days almost. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, please tell us a bit more about what you do in that world and then, you know, things that you do beyond that, because yeah,
Well,
it's quite fascinating.
I've been writing and producing music for a very, very long time. I have 7 of my own records that are on iTunes and all of that. And you know what's funny is when I started voice acting, I wondered if I would ever get the chance to incorporate the music and the voice acting. And for a very long time, we didn't do any music related to the animes. Because the Japanese company that owns the anime, they want to keep their music with the show so that they can sell more of their records, right? Which makes sense. But then I got the opportunity to sing the Dragon Ball Kai theme for Dragon Ball Z Kai. Don't stop, we're in luck now, don't stop. That one.
Yeah.
And I sang 3 different One Piece theme openings.
Okay.
And I got to sing a closing theme for a show that I love and a lot of you have mentioned, named Oran High School Host Club.
Yeah.
And of course, Full Metal Alchemist has a great song that I sang. I just love music, and you know, I want to jump off of something that Lou said too. You know, when I was a little boy, there were only one kind of convention. Comic-Cons weren't really the big deal. You know what they were? Star Trek conventions. If you're old enough, you know that the very first conventions ever were Star Trek conventions. Fans would come together and they would rent a ballroom at a hotel, maybe New York City, maybe Pittsburgh, whatever, and they would ask some of the actors from the show to come. And that was literally how Comic-Cons began, because of Star Trek. And I would go to shows, to those conventions. I was 12 years old. And my mom would just drop me off, and I would spend all day at these conventions. And I would get to meet all the actors, and I was just this little nerd in my Star Trek uniform that I made at home. And then to come full circle and to have the privilege to be a part of something like voice acting that people have enjoyed, and to get to be a part of these events all these years later. Again, it's a wonderful full circle experience. So, I mean, I do audiobooks, I write and produce film professionally, voice acting work, on camera. I just finished a horror film. I played a character in a horror movie I'm pretty excited about. It's a classic cheesy horror movie. You know, the ones with the guy in the rubber suit. And, you know, horror movies that are so bad they're good. It's one of those kind. So I'm looking forward to that coming out. But any chance to be creative.
Yeah.
Any chance to be creative, whether it's sculpting something out of clay or writing a song or acting or playing music or writing or anything. Just love it all. Any chance. And there's so many creative people out here. And I think that's one thing that really draws people to Comic-Cons, is people that love drawing or building or creating or writing. And they come here and they find themselves surrounded by all these people that love what they love, that share their passion. And it's something that brings us all together. And in this world, anything that brings people together is a good thing.
Agreed. And in that spirit of coming together, I wanted to open up for some audience questions, because I'm sure, and we've already got someone. Do we have a mic down there, Mark, or how are we doing this? Do you want to take mine?
Anyone has a question?
Hello, this is for Vic.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So I'm a really big fan of your work on
Thank you.
Auren High School Host Club.
Oh, thank you, commoner.
And I was wondering, there's a line that your character does in Host Club. It's the and you boys are the homosexual support. Can you do that like right now? Give me
I
a
will
second.
do that for you, but you need to tell everybody what I'm about to say, because if they don't understand, they're gonna be like, what did he just say?
And you boys are the homosexual supporting cast.
Okay, let me give you guys a quick idea of what she's talking about. There's this show that I did called Auren High School Host Club. It's a wonderful show, but it's about a group of boys in high school who entertain young ladies in the high school. And what they do is they basically gush all over them and, oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you've stolen my heart, princess. That kind of innocent fun. But each of the boys represents a different kind of personality. So some girls like the strong, silent type, right? Some girls like the studious, intellectual type. Some girls like a romantic kind of a guy. Some girls like an athletic kind of a guy. So each of the boys in the club represents a different kind of guy. And my character is the head of the group. He started the club. And so somebody asked him, who are all these boys in the group? And there are these two twins. They're identical twins, and they're kind of troublemakers. They give my character a hard time all the time. And so he's going along and he's saying, this person is this kind of person, and this person is this kind of person, and I'm the love interest, and Haruhi is my girl, and the two twins, they're the homosexual supporting cast. So they like to tease each other. So that's what she was referring to. If you're wondering, what in the world am I even watching right now? That's it. Thank you. I love you.
Do we have another question from the audience?
I was wondering, I know you mentioned how it was hard with an upbringing with your hearing loss. How difficult was it for you to keep up with the big names in the industry and keep pressuring yourself to, give your best?
Well, when I did the host show, I was definitely typecast because the way I was speaking, people would say to me, save your money, because they don't want to say to me, you'll never work again. But myself personally, I studied phonetic. That means by speaking by the feeling of your tongue, voice lesson. And with technology today, 3 years ago, I had to receive a cochlear implant because I'm a big believer, be the best you can with yourself, maximize your personal power. Because the only way you change people's mind is yourself. I have so much adversity against me. Even till today, people a lot of times they say it was very negative. But now Hollywood has accepting it that if you have the handicap or something, okay, they will use you. But my time when I was doing this series, it was all about limitation. I removed those limitations because I want to be the best I can be. Like my hearing's not perfect as yours or anybody here. But I've learned to maximize the other qualities about myself. I've done theater, I've done stage plays. I've learned to be the best I can be because I know I got a chance to play different films. Like, for example, you take Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. They're not perfect, but they created this wonderful character about them and got the audience to love them. That's why they had, like, if you take Stallone, like Arnold from Austria, they refused to take a step backward. So with this sheer determination and the sheer sacrifice you make, you have to really love challenges. I love challenges. I love getting knocked out, getting up again. Like nobody can say to me, you can. You could change that within your capacity. So for me, even till today, I enjoy that challenge and the risk because that's what makes life exciting.
I love that because you spoke about sort of you do motivational speaking, I guess, these days. And just in that answer there, you could hear it just in a snippet there. You know, I feel like, you know, that was the one answer that got a clap out of everyone, which I think was beautiful. And not to say that any of our other answers weren't good, but it's just, it's inspiring, and that does a lot. Do we have any other questions at all?
Do we have any more questions from the audience?
Otherwise, I have one that I want to sort of finish with.
Hello. If Tamaki were to confess his love to Haruhi, how do you think he would do it?
Have you read the manga?
No.
Well, then you should read it. Because that happens in the manga. You know, I wish there was another season of that show. I truly do. Because the manga continued. And Haruhi and Tamaki ultimately get married. So there's something to look forward to. She's like, uh-oh, spoiler. Can I want to add to something that Lou said. I love him. And what he said is so true. And I want to encourage all of you with something. What I've learned over the years in this industry is that it's not always the most talented people. It's not always the most beautiful people that get the opportunities. You know who it is? It's the people that don't give up. It's the people that refuse to take no for an answer. It's the people that say, well, yeah, you tell me I can't do it. Well, I'm going to work harder, and I'm going to do it. And I've learned this in my own industry. Some of the songs you hear on the radio, they're not necessarily the greatest singers of all time. Some of the TV shows you watch, they're not necessarily the greatest actors of all time. But they just kept pushing and trying and trying and trying and wouldn't give up. So I want to encourage all of you, if you have a gift, if you have a talent that you want to use, don't let people discourage you. They said they didn't like what I did. Okay, so what? Keep pushing. Keep moving forward, and before you know it, you'll get an opportunity and you'll make the most of it if you don't give up. Okay? Remember that. It's not the biggest, brightest, most talented people that get opportunities. It's the people that don't give up. Okay?
Now, I just wanted to finish with one question because I figure everyone will have lots of questions, probably about Uran High School Host Club, but also about the Hulk, about Harry Potter, about Ideal. And I think what I want to encourage people to do is actually come and visit you guys at your tables, come and get something signed, come and get a picture with you, come and ask and engage, because I think, you know, what I'm getting from you as well is, as much as it's nice to do all that, just this meeting people is one of the most beautiful parts of being here and having those one-on-one moments. So I want us to get back to that in a moment.
Before we leave the stage, I want everybody to listen to me carefully. Go online, look up Star Trek Continued. Episode number 2 was directed by Vic. Vic came to me before we filmed. He said, would you be interested in playing this character? This guy's very evil, and he wanted to find his slave. He's a slave trader. So if you get a chance, Lolani, watch it tonight and tell me tomorrow what you think. The performance, he directed the show. When you see this episode, you would think you're watching the original Star Trek series. It's amazing. It captured the same element, the same storyline, the same atmosphere. It's amazing. I was very happy to be part of it. But please check it out. StarTrekContinues.com. Check it out. Episode number 2. And tell Vic what you think tomorrow.
So the last thing I wanted to ask for each of you guys is just, we talked about some of your most famous roles, the things that you've done that people know, the other talents and things you do that maybe people don't know. But for you personally, what is it that sustains your soul? What is it that you do just for yourself that makes you happy and gives you an outlet from all these creative and work endeavors? What makes you happy, I guess?
Love thyself. You have to be happy. You have to enjoy what you're doing. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, if you listen to other negative people, you try to seek approval for other people, you lose. Always seek approval with yourself. Listen to your heart, the heart feel. Don't let the mind dominate the heart. It's all about, like Vic mentioned before, it's all about the passion, about that makes you happy because you only live once. There's no limitations in life. And it's all about love what you're doing. That's so important. You have to be happy. When I mean happy, it means that in a relationship, as far as a job situation, as far as life itself, life is about choice. You make that choice for yourself. It's only about choice. You can't blame other people. People who blame other people, they feel insecure about themselves. It's all about taking action for yourself, and you have to have that inner happiness and be happy because you want to pass on knowing that you had a good life.
So there we go. If you want to be happy, make good choices like Lou and make the choices for
Yeah,
yourself.
like I have my fiance in the audience. That's my inner happiness right here. I'm happy she's with me. Lisa, please stand up. Yeah. And also, Vic has a wonderful wife. I met her recently, and he's very happy. He met her dearly. But it's beautiful. That's what life is about.
So what about for you, Graham? What sort of nourishes your soul outside of all this work?
Other work, weirdly enough, but just seeing good work, seeing good art, seeing good films, listening to good music, it's good for the soul. It really is. It's as simple as that. And for me, just following on from what Vic was saying, just creativity. And I'm not a big one for holidays. I would rather be creating either solo or with other people. I just love creating. So, as you were saying, if it's drawing, if it's writing, if it's acting, if it's brainstorming stuff, I just think get it out. I think creativity is the most wonderful thing, you know, and it comes in so many different forms. But for me, it's just getting that out and absorb, you know, you got input as well as output. I think put good stuff in, put good stuff out. That's it. And surround yourself with good people. Don't suffer fools gladly, you know. Surround yourself with people that are supportive, that are positive, and just be nourished by that. I think it's all very simple stuff, but it's easy to forget because we get caught up in so much drama in the world, and there's so much negativity happening. It's really important just to focus on the good stuff. And like I say, it's simple, but we do forget.
Absolutely. And what about for yourself, Vic?
Well, first, we'd love to meet you. I'm not sure where you came from, but Lou and I came an awful long way just because we were excited to get the chance to meet you. So I hope you'll come and say hello to us. The foundation of my life is my faith. I'm a believer in Jesus. I'm not afraid to say that. But that being the foundation, I also believe that that is the source of all creativity, all natural talent. You can go to school and learn a lot of things, or you have certain natural gifts that you've been given. And I have the greatest joy to get to use those gifts. And it's not about money. It's not about being paid to do anything. How many of you draw? How many of you draw? Any artists here? Yes? How many of you write or maybe love acting or building costumes? Do you only do it when somebody pays you? No. You do it because you have to. You do it because it comes from inside you and you love doing it. So fill your life with the things that give you joy like that. It's not about how much money you can make from it or any kind of fame or popularity. There's such deep joy in using the gifts that you've been given, no matter what they are. It might be fixing a car. It doesn't have to be anything super, artsy. It could be the simplest thing. But if it gives you joy, then fill your life with those things.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I love seeing how you express your faith, and you talk about it online very often. So, it's great to find whatever is everyone's inner strength and source of sustenance.
And Lou also mentioned, and I would be remiss since he mentioned his lovely fiance. I just got married. Y'all, you don't even know. She's awesome. She's the greatest. I I knew her 35 years ago when we were children, and we just reconnected very recently, and we just celebrated our first year anniversary, and she is an amazing gift. So I'm very grateful for that.
Now, as Vic mentioned there, these guys are just going to be sat over there. Please go and see them, get them to sign something, get a photo, take advantage of the fact that they've come all this way and they've been so generous with their time, with being able to speak to us now. Please go and pick something up from them to show your appreciation, because they're incredible guys that have done incredible work. You're not just, getting something great from them. You're giving something back to them for all the stuff that they've given to you. I think it's so important.
You've done a great job, moderator. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been an absolute privilege, and I really want to thank these guys so much for this amount of time.
When we get together, we're gonna get some money to pay you later.
10%. I tell you, make sure you get down there. So give a big round of applause to these guys and to yourselves. Thank you very much.